Hey, so can we talk about survival mode for a few minutes this morning? Um, I am starting to learn more about survival mode, how it relates to the nervous system, how survival mode relates to the the identity that we take on and believe is our true self when it's really not. Uh, and also just in relation to like the nervous system. And one thing that I know, if I don't know anything else besides the fact that this dog is literally making all the noise right now as I just hit record, is that um I was in survival mode for a very long time. And because I was in survival mode for a very long time, I know what it feels like to not be able to, for example, imagine a new reality for myself because I was in survival mode. The only things that I could think about were obviously just like maybe food, work, my kid. That's about it. But there was so much more to life available to me, and I just wasn't like I didn't have the capacity to see that. When you're in survival mode, your line of sight is very shortened. You can't necessarily see what's going on around you. All you can stay focused on is what's right in front of you, just the things that are necessary for you to get, for example, from point A to point B, nothing more, or to just make it through the day, survive another day, literally. That's all you can think about when you're in survival mode is just surviving for the day. And there's so much more to life. There's so much more to life. When I am in survival mode, because there are times I shift back into survival mode depending on what's going on. When I'm in survival mode, I know this to be true because I can't, I can't, like, I end up getting like blocked in different ways. I can't think straight. I can't even think about creating anything for Brown Girl Self Care. I can't uh, find ways to experience joy or happiness. Not focused on those things. There's only so much energy that we have when we're in survival mode. Well, first of all, our energy is so precious, obviously, and I talk about how we need to make sure that we are giving our energy to things that actually matter to us. But my energy is so limited when I'm in survival mode. All I can do is eat, sleep, work, if I'm working at the time, rinse, wash, repeat, whatever. It's just that cycle. That's literally it. There's nothing outside of those things when you're in survival mode. And, when I'm in survival mode, I still like you still want to feel goodness. You still want to feel like you're accomplishing something, So, or you want to have these like spikes to your energy. At least that's how it is for me. So I'll, for example, really eat a lot of candy because I need that sugar to get into this like happy place, and obviously to also do something to the body. Sugar gives you that rush of energy. The downside for me is, besides obviously weight gain and what it does to my body, my hormones and everything else, is that you come crashing down after you eat a lot of sugar. And it's interesting because I, even as a child, I would eat a lot of candy. I would eat a lot of candy, a lot of carbs, things like that, because I want to feel something. I want to feel good. When you're in survival mode, you want the easiest ways to feel good. When you're in survival mode, you feel like you don't have a lot of choices, and maybe your choices are limited at that time, but you don't feel like you have a lot of choices. So you're like, what's the fastest way that I can feel happy or like feel something other than exhaustion, stress, anxiety? It can be like food or like sugar, like I said before. And I know that I'm in survival mode, or I am leaning into that territory when all I can think about or every single day is like candy, 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 because that's my thing, or sweets or sugar or that kind of thing. Um, or scrolling, mindlessly scrolling on social media. That's also another distraction that's available to us. It's quick. You get that rush of energy, that dopamine hit. You feel satisfied, like you've accomplished something. You watching someone else live their best life, you watching someone else go and do the things you want to do. In your mind, maybe you think, well, I can't do it, but at least I can watch somebody do it. You know, not saying that's your truth. You can do it. But when you're in a place of survival mode, like I said before, you can only see like what's a few steps ahead. And actually, that's kind of like a faith thing too. Even in faith, when you're on a path, you can sometimes only see a few steps ahead. The only thing is when you're in survival mode, you're not operating from a place of faith. In survival mode, you're operating from a place of lack, anxiety, distrust, unease, exhaustion, terror, panic, lack. And that's different from faith, where you know that no matter what happens, everything is going to be working out for you one way or another, and you don't have to be afraid of this unknown. You don't have to stress out that you can't necessarily see everything in front of you, on this path or this journey that you're on. But yeah, for me, survival mode, it's something that I've experienced many times in my life. And we have to remember that there are systems at play here that really love it when you're in survival mode. They really love it when Black women, in particular, are feeling stressed, limited, exhausted, that kind of thing, where all you can do is eat, sleep, work, repeat. Eat, sleep, work, repeat. Because when we get into those habits, um, what else do we do besides scrolling or consuming like things that may not necessarily be good for your body? A lot of us, we shop. Because again, if I didn't say this before, hold on one second. Callie, stop, please. Please stop. Please stop, mama. Okay. Please. I'm begging you. Um, and here she comes. Okay, come here, mama. Come here. Give me kissy. All right. Thank you. Good friend. Thank you, mama. All right. Um, when we get in survival mode, something else that we tend to do is shop. I don't know if I said that just now or not because I got distracted, but we shop. We spend lots and lots of money on things that we do not need that will help us to feel that hit, that boost, that happiness, that joy. It's a manufactured happiness, a manufactured joy. But when you're in survival mode and you feel like your options are limited, you don't care about that. You'll take the joy and the happiness the fastest way you can get it. You know what I mean? And shopping, at least for me, that was a huge thing. And I would shop with money that I didn't even have. I would shop with money that I didn't even have. And, when you do that, when you are spending money, not that it's not good for you to buy things for yourself or to experience luxury. We're not talking about that. Okay. We're talking about shopping from a place or doing these things from a place where it's all about, at its core, you're in survival mode, you're exhausted, you're burnt out, you're tired, you have no energy, you're zapped, you're scared, you're anxious. And so you're trying to self-soothe in a way that will give you short, little, quick bursts of something that ultimately you want to feel, you know? Um, but when you're shopping, when you're spending money and you don't have it, all you're doing is not only are you buying stuff that you don't need 9.5 times out of 10, but you're also borrowing, stealing from, taking from, stripping away at your future self, this version of you that you are, like you are her, everything that you could imagine outside of survival mode. You are her, but you're not activating her. You're not allowing her to step forward. You are stealing from your future self, which a lot of times is going to put you further back, and it's going to keep you stuck in that loop. Now you're further back it's a little bit into the future. You're further back because of the things that you've done today. And so if you haven't learned to give your nervous system, hold on a second, please. Go sit down, Callie. Go sit down, Booba. Bye bye. Bye bye. Okay. Okay. I have to pet her all day. All day. What was I saying? Oh gosh, what was I saying? If you haven't yet learned about your body, learned about your nervous system and what you need to feel more uh, regulated, to where you're not just doing things from a place of reaction, you know, then it's it's going to be just endless cycles, endless cycles that are going to feel impossible to break, you know, while you're in survival mode. They're not impossible to break, but they'll just feel that way. When I am in survival mode, it can be very daunting, very scary. And I get to this place where I just feel like nothing's really possible. And that this is all that there is available to me, whatever this is at that time. You can't, like I said, you can't, not only can you not see further down the road, but it's like you just have a very limited, you have a very limited way of processing things because you don't really have the energy necessary or the space or the capacity necessary to navigate the challenges or the things that are going to come up. You know, instead of being able to do that in a healthy way, all you can respond with, because you're reactionary, is stress, anger, fear, panic, anxiety, you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, what I would recommend is you've got to find a way to make space to start regulating. Nothing is going to change if you're in survival mode. Nothing is going to change. You're not going to be able to break these loops or cycles or whatever, or see your reality for what it truly is, um, without giving yourself some space to feel regulated. You know, and it sucks. I know that it sucks that you really have to take a step back from things that maybe bring you an instant sense of pleasure or temporary joy, even though they're going to be limited, and they're not going to necessarily be rooted in true peace, joy, that kind of thing. But it sucks because when you're in this state of mind, you're like, any type of good hit is a good hit. You know, any kind of quick and easy hit is a quick and easy good hit. But we have to look at the long term here. We have to be playing the long game, if you will, with this. Okay. So what I would say, or at least what works for me, is I mean, there's many things that you can do, you know, but you have to think of things that are going to help you kind of come back to yourself and give you the capacity or the space to move forward with less stress, less panic, less anxiety, right? And every time you are able to regulate yourself, every time you're able to center yourself in that way, it's not necessarily an immediate, long lasting fix. This is why I say that I have to be very mindful every day of what I am doing to tend to myself, because not it can be easy to, after some time, go over back into like survival mode, stress mode, panic mode over every single thing. Like, oh, you got an unexpected bill. Oh shit, I gotta panic. Oh, this thing didn't turn out for you. Oh shit. I don't know how to process that. So all I can do is just be super mad, and I'll be super mad for weeks, you know, just different things like that. But gotta find some ways to start regulating yourself so that you are able to address things in a way that leave you feeling more cool, collected. You're able to think clearly, think straight. Um, Everything just doesn't automatically put you into a tizzy. When you're able to not go into a tizzy, but instead think through situations, you'll come to solutions better. You'll come to solutions better, right? So, how can you start to make that space if this sounds like you and you're in survival mode right now? Um, you have to start putting away the quick fixes, one thing at a time. That's probably the biggest thing that I would recommend. So, if you are someone who is constantly scrolling on social media, girl, I'm going to need you to turn that phone off during specific times of the day and just breathe. 10 minutes. 10 minutes of breathing. Do you know what that does for your nervous system? 10 minutes of breathing versus 10 minutes of scrolling. It's life changing when done on a consistent basis. And you can just keep amping it up. Maybe you start with 5 minutes every day, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night before you go to bed. Then you bump it to 15 minutes, then maybe 30. You know what I mean? But you have to figure out what works best for you. Also, I would say something else that I do is I journal. I've been journaling since at least 2014. That's the oldest journal that I found. Um, and actually, it's funny because I'm going on a tangent here. I remember I used to try to journal when I was a kid, and I would address the journal entries as this is when I was like maybe 10 years old. So whatever. But I used to have the stuffed animal, and her name was Cicely Snake. So when I was journaling, I would write, "Dear Cicely Snake." I don't remember what else I would write, but that stands out as a core memory for me. So I was maybe like 9. Okay. So I was journaling back then. I wish I could find some of those old things I would write. I know they was wild, but anyway, as an adult, the furthest back I was able to find a journal is 2014. So I've been journaling since around 2014, maybe a little earlier. But yeah, journaling is life changing. Journaling is life changing. So that's something that I would recommend. And it doesn't cost much. Pen, paper, notebook, cheap little 99-cent notebook, and you're off to the races. Okay. There's a low barrier to entry when you do journaling. Um, Something for me that I am going to be working on for this next 30-day sprint, if you will. And by the way, I'm sorry. Hey, in case you're new here, my name is Bree. I host a podcast. It's called Brown Girl Self-Care. It's a podcast for Black women who are looking to honor their humanity through freedom. Okay. Um, and liberation, radical freedom, radical liberation. What was I gonna say? I really want to start eating cleaner because my eating has gotten out of control over the last, I would say, just throughout this year. It will be on again, off again. Before I moved here, I live in Arkansas now. I moved here last year. Before I moved here, uh, it was just it was just different. I'm still adjusting, I guess. But I definitely want to get back to doing the things that I know my body needs. Look at this is uneven. Sorry, I'm distracted. I just cut my hair yesterday, so I can just kind of like see. I'm seeing where things are unbalanced. Anyway, but yeah, eating. That is something that I want to get back into. As far as like, I mean, obviously I eat, but as far as like eating cleaner, not so much sugar, not so much processed food. When I do that, it really helps me to feel more regulated. It really helps me to feel less panicked, less anxious. The things that we eat definitely affect our mood, our mindsets, our bodies, our physical health, our spiritual health. I also want to get back into intermittent fasting because I used to do that for a very long time and I got out of that when I moved here too. I don't think I've intermittent fasted not even once since I've moved out here. And I moved out here last year. So yeah, I want to get back into that. So maybe that's something that I'll talk about in a future uh, video here. But yeah, the journaling, the food, the sugar, um, moving your body, moving your body. I'm always going to recommend moving your body. Um, that is also something that has helped me. I have to be able to go outside or do some type of walking or stretching or yoga, Pilates. I don't do Pilates. Uh, Exercise bike, something. We have a gym here in my apartment, and I made my a part of my schedule for August, and I am committing to going to the gym once per week and getting on the elliptical. Yep, just one time per week. I have to start small. I do not want to cram my calendar with all kinds of gym, all this stuff, because that doesn't work for me. I need consistency. And the only way that I can be consistent is to start slow and build from there. So I will be going to the gym. I think I put my gym days as Wednesdays, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to look at my calendar, but I'm almost positive that Wednesday is the day that I have committed for going to the gym for 1 hour each week. Um, what else? We talked about journaling, moving your body, stillness, quiet, you know, things like that. Just figuring out ways to interrupt the 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 habits that we have learned or are learning while in survival mode. Self-care it's like a full-time job. Taking care of ourselves is a full-time job. It's a practice. And what better way to practice than to, you know, work on our nervous systems. Our nervous systems are responsible for so much, but if you're stuck in like panic mode or like flight mode, or if you're always fawning and people pleasing, which is another type of survival mode that I experienced as well, where I did a lot of people pleasing and fawning over people because I didn't want them to be mad. I just stayed in this constant state of um, I better do these things, even though I wasn't logically thinking this, but subconsciously I think I was. I better do these things to stay safe, you know, just if being agreeable, even if I thought things were stupid, just different things like that. But that to me is also a sign that your nervous system is dysregulated. Like if you're in that state, you can't possibly have enough space for true ease or true like less stress or less hypervigilance, if you're constantly scanning to make sure that nobody is a threat or that nothing in your immediate area is a threat. You feel me? So yeah, if you're in survival mode, start small. Start making space. That's the first thing that I would recommend to you. Start making space. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up here. And I'll try my best to talk more about this kind of stuff during this 90-day challenge that I'm doing as well. But before I go, if you are in need of support and you would like to connect with me and work one-on-ones that we can help you start to build healthy self-care practices that honor your humanity, that honor your freedom, especially if you're a woman of a certain age, okay? Because it's really crucial for us to we don't have time to waste. Okay. Then reach out to me. Connect at browngirlselfcare.com. Connect at browngirlselfcare.com. I do have some spaces open for connection for the month of August. And we can go ahead and get you on the path to feeling more calm, making more space in your life. Okay. Prioritizing yourself. You feel me? All right. All right. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Have an amazing Saturday. And I will see you tomorrow for, I think, day 33. I think today's day 32 of this 90-day visibility and freedom challenge that I am on. All right. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.